Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's YouTube video. This one is completely different to the normal ones that we do. This is actually an interview with an OnlyFans creator who has over 5 years experience in the game. I thought it'd be something interesting and different to bring onto the channel rather than just always hearing from myself. So I'd love to share Holly's story. We've asked her some very, very interesting questions. So whether you are watching this and you're an agency owner or you're an OnlyFans model, this is great for you because there's lots of interesting points that we both discussed. And for anybody who's new to the channel, by the way, my name is Marcus. I run an OnlyFans management agency. We have models doing anywhere from $50 to the biggest one doing $175,000 per month. And also about that, if you're watching this and you're a model and you want to get started with our agency, there'll be a link down below as well in the comments, probably pinned, to message me on Instagram to potentially apply. But anyway, enjoy this video. It's really, really insightful. I have left all of Holly's links down below in the description. Feel free to check her out, follow her on social media, and check out her links as well. Guys, enjoy. So cool. Holly, for everybody that's watching, feel free to introduce yourself.
My name is Holly Deacon. I'm from Portsmouth in England, and I'm an OnlyFans creator.
Fantastic. Cool. Let's just jump straight into it. So first things first, how did you get into it? When did you get into it? How did you find out about OnlyFans?
First got into it probably about 5 years ago, something like that. So I started off on Instagram, just sort of doing posts, like sort of for clothing brands, things like that. And then it was underwear modeling. And back in the day, you had a lot of like lads mags and things like that. So girls were sort of using that, but then they stopped. They put an end to all the lads mags, and there was like nowhere really to sort of sell your pictures. So along came OnlyFans, and just sort of got set up on there, and just sort of started from there really, and just played it out.
It was completely different about 5 years ago, I can imagine, right?
So different, yeah. And like back then, it was like really frowned upon. Like if you said to someone you're on that, they're like, "Oh God," but no.
That's the big thing. I think also as well, there wasn't that many creators on there. I mean,
no, there wasn't.
I didn't start 5 years ago, but I've spoken, I think, perhaps Bronte. I spoke
Yeah,
to her. She was mentioning as well the fact that, initially it was genuinely people like painting and just random shit, like playing piano and stuff. And they wanted to show exclusive content. And then of course it kind of developed into what it is now. So it's interesting. So anyway, so 5 years, that's a long time. It's just, which is really interesting. So obviously this is why I wanted to get you on a video to share your story. And for a lot of people that are watching, I think they're going to find it very, very interesting. So you have a lot of experience, obviously, with OnlyFans. So when you first started and got into it, you just mentioned there, Holly, you obviously had some experience with modeling already. But when it comes to kind of monetizing that and, actually perhaps looking at their business as such, right, it's probably a little bit different. So did you struggle with anything, or how genuinely just your first couple of months, what was your kind of thought process going into it? Was it to manage?
The first couple of months was a little bit strange because I was still doing my modelling on the side as well. So I still had a steady income from that. But I wasn't seeing it so much as like something that's going to be my main income. It was just sort of something I thought, give it a try, because I'm selling these sort of pictures anyway and posting something very similar to Instagram. And then some of the stuff I'm not getting paid for, I might as well try and make money from it. So the first couple of months was just sort of a bit of trial and error. It wasn't like the best months, but when I was seeing that actually you can make good money from this, and it was then trying to find different ways, different things that would make the money and that people want to buy.
And when was it? Was it like a couple months in straight away? You were like, fucking hell, this is actually something serious. I could actually take this full time.
I'm quite fortunate that I have quite a big base on Instagram. So at the beginning, it did kick off for me quite quick. So yeah, I was quite fortunate that straight away I was like, oh gosh, like this actually could be something. So I think that's why, like, I think it could be a bit demoralizing if you were to start and then you're not really getting that many subscribers, but it is, you have to just build it up.
Yeah, correct. Okay, cool. So I didn't know about this either. So again, I think a lot of creators, when they jump on, they might have like maybe 5,000, 10,000 followers on Instagram. They'll jump on it.
Yeah.
It might make a couple $1,000s a month, if that, but then they'll just get, like you said, demotivated. It's maybe a little bit demoralizing. That's probably the hardest part for a lot of people to get into. So straight away, I think from what I'm hearing is build a personal brand, build a following, build yourself on social media. Is that
try
something?
and have something that's a little bit different about yourself, like, I don't know, maybe perhaps in the way you look, the way you act, the content that you sell, just something that's a little bit niche about you.
And what about yourself, Holly? How did you go ahead and do that? Was it just naturally yourself posting yourself on social media?
I've sort of naturally just been myself. I'm always quite glam. That's one thing. So a lot of girls are sort of just naturally just beautiful. Unfortunately, I'm not. So I like to get all dolled up, and that's the way sort of my followers seem to like me, for the glam, sort of bubbly blonde personality, I guess.
Got you, got you. Interesting stuff. And in terms of social media as well, by the way, so from about a couple of years ago to now, what do you think has changed from your point of view in terms of what platforms work better? I think obviously TikTok, I think, was just about starting 5 years ago, 6 years ago, wasn't
Yeah.
nowhere near as big as now. Have you noticed like different platforms being more prevalent than others at the moment?
So I've recently just got onto TikTok, but I really need to sort of like get into that more. So I'm trying to build that up at the moment. My biggest sort of platform has always been Instagram. However, with all like the rules and regulations of what you can post, what you can't post, like some people can post bikinis, some people get removed. It's very hard to use that to sort of promote your OnlyFans because you could get taken down within seconds. And then if you
Yeah.
lose that, you're losing a big part of your income, which they don't sort of realise.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that it's become harder on Instagram. I think that's my hardest one at the moment, is to try and keep that up and still promote myself for OnlyFans.
Got you. What other platforms are you doing at the moment? What would you say are the best ones for you?
Twitter's very good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find Twitter good. Also, I've had like 1 or 2 profiles removed on them, which is also a right pain. But yeah, I'd say OnlyFans and Twitter are my best
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. Twitter, you can
Definitely
just
business.
post whatever you want. They're
Yeah,
pretty free about that. Yeah, interesting
yeah.
stuff. Okay, so fantastic. So just to recap the story so far, so you initially started about 5 years ago. The initial launch was fantastic. It was great success because you already had a large online following. Now, then going into a couple of months forward, did you find that there was a lot to manage? There's a lot of people to speak to, and you didn't have enough time in a day. And did you try and find some perhaps agencies or anybody to work with, or did you just try and do it all by yourself?
So at the beginning, I just tried to do it all by myself, and I did manage for a good couple of years doing it all by myself. But then I was fine. The thing that's hard is because you still want to have a rapport and a relationship with your customers, because otherwise then it becomes impersonal, and then what's the point in them subscribing if they're not talking to you and getting to know you? Then it's pointless for them as well. So it's hard to find sort of a balance between what you can manage. So I then ended up taking on a management team, and they basically, what they will do for me is schedule my content, tell me what content I need to post, sort of get everything more sort of like in a diary form for me. However, it is still me that runs the OnlyFans.
Got you. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what we do as well. I think there's so much on your mind if you're doing
Yeah,
everything
it's
by
constantly,
yourself.
and you forget like you need to do this custom, this needs to be done by then. You need this, that, or like professional shoots and things like that. And you need to know when to have that all ready and like when to get
Yeah.
your head. Just silly things like that. Just a bit of organisation, really.
Yeah, correct. And it just frees up so much space in your mind to actually focus on perhaps building that
Yeah,
connection with your fans, right? Which matters the
yeah.
most. Okay, interesting. And just to dig a little bit deeper, because I'm curious, and I'm sure a majority of people watching this, I think, will be potential agency owners or existing agency owners. So they will probably, I'm sure you get this all the fucking time. How many DMs do you get a day? Like, hey, I run an OnlyFans management
Loads, absolutely loads.
and just what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on it? Like, are there any like funny ones that you've noticed or anything like that?
Not particularly. To be honest, if I just don't actually read that
I
many of
see them.
them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I think once you start reading them, you see what they promise you, and you think, "Ooh, sounds and looks fantastic." And think, is it
yeah,
realistic? I don't know.
yeah.
So I'll just stick to what I know.
Yeah, good stuff. So talking about that then, so the agency that you work with now,
Mhm.
how did you go about finding them and what made you actually want to work with them as well?
I was actually, I've been friends with the person for a long time.
Mhm.
We just sort of got speaking about it. She helps manage other people's accounts, and they're doing really well into the industry. So I just thought that, but at the same time, I was still a bit skeptical because I still want it to be personal and like run
Of
by
course.
me. But she's been brilliant throughout.
Okay, brilliant. That's funny enough. Like that's exactly what I say on my YouTube videos is if you're running an agency and you want to get some clients on board, think about who you already know. It's going to be your
Yeah.
best bet because you have that trust already. You met them perhaps in real
Yeah,
life.
exactly. It's like in the nicest way. I don't really want to be sending pictures and videos to someone that I don't really know,
It's a
and
lot of
like you do
trust.
send stuff. Yeah, you do send stuff which you don't really want to be posting anyway. Like
Hmm.
a lot of girls, we are in it for the money. No, I don't think many people particularly enjoy doing this every day.
Hmm.
So the content you send out, you've got to be wary of where it's going.
Yeah, yeah, correct. So, I mean, talking about that as well, have you ever had some crazy like experiences or anything that's happened where content's been leaked? I mean, we hear that all the time.
Yeah,
Is that
I'm
something you
constantly
struggle
getting
with?
content. Yeah, constantly getting content leaked. But fortunately, I've got somebody that sort of deals with every leak that I find, and they're
Perfect,
really good at getting it taken down real
perfect,
quick.
perfect. I think as well, I think that's also another thing that plays in a lot of models like minds. I think
Mm.
thinking again, especially new ones who are just starting out, again, they might be making a couple $1,000s here and there. And if they get some bad feedback or their content gets leaked and
Yeah, it
sudden.
crushes you. It makes you feel rubbish, but you have got to have a hard skin,
So
tough skin.
also about that, Holly, just for anybody that's watching, like perhaps a model who's thinking about starting OnlyFans or who's just in the
Yeah.
early stages, from somebody like yourself who's obviously very experienced, you've been doing it for over 5 years, what piece of advice that you wish you knew when you were starting out now that you could give them?
Um. Well, advice I'd give myself was to start sooner, because you didn't realize back then it was such a thing. I think the main advice I'd give people is you have to be sure that it's something that you want to do. Like, it can't be just sort of like you wake up one morning, oh, I'm going to just try and make some money and send some pictures and nudes, because that stuff is out there forever. It's not going anywhere. Like people say, when you have children and blah blah blah, you have to think about this. And it is the kind of job where people don't really say, oh, well done, like, congrats on your job. Do you know what I mean? Your family aren't going to be amazed that you're doing it. You will get some backlash. However, it does have very positive sides to it. You can work when you want to work, you make your own money, you're free to travel around the world, everything like that. So just sort of have a deep think into it, as if you were happy enough for yourself to be out there and to be able to sort of mentally withstand the backlash and the nasty comments and things that do go with it.
Completely agree. I think that's probably the hardest part of starting as a creator.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah,
so
definitely.
rather than the physical of what you have to do day to day, which is also very fucking difficult. You're constantly having to create content, be there, etc.
Yeah.
But then also what's going on up here in the mental side of things,
Yeah.
because it's a big fucking step to put yourself out there like that. So
yeah, it's literally, you're putting yourself out there for the world to see.
what's your answer to people whenever, because this is the most common fucking thing that I hear whenever I meet somebody and I tell them what I do, and they're like, well, what are these girls going to do when they have a family, etc. It's the most common fucking question I get. What's your kind of response to that?
Well, I'm hoping by the time, like, well, when I do have children, if I have children, that I will be out of this game by then. I will have made a lot of money from what I'm doing. My kids will live a very happy, comfortable lifestyle. Yes, there will be obviously people at school and things like that saying stuff. However, I think it's a lot less frowned upon then than it is now. And it's kind of not the norm, but there is a lot more people doing it. And sort of, it is what it is. We all deal with bullying about different things anyway. So I'll just have to get to that point when it comes.
Yeah, I think we mentioned earlier as well how massively fucking the outlook on OnlyFans has drastically changed in the last fucking 5 years.
Yeah.
Completely
It's like,
agree.
if you used to be a stripper, people were like, oh, stripper. But like,
Yeah.
stripper now, that's like, oh, cool, stripper.
Yeah. And OnlyFans, it used to be such a thing where as soon as you hear the word OnlyFans, people have these perceptions and look at you weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, cool, she does OF. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Holly, I know you're very fucking busy. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for jumping on. For everybody that's watching, of course, if you want to find out more about Holly and see her social media and her OF link, those will all be down below as well. Thank you very much, Holly, for jumping on. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can catch up on another call. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later.